Hello, everybody, and welcome to a 2024 NFL 3-round mock draft. You guys like the 1-round mock draft enough, so I thought I'd one-up myself and go for 3. Now, obviously, a lot can change from now to the actual draft, but as of right now, it's fun doing this. You get to address some needs, and look at how many picks some of these teams has. This is the Arizona Cardinals have multiple picks, more than 3 in the first 3 rounds, which is always really fun. I've got it all pre-done, and I'll basically just be going over the picks, giving you guys just not analysis as much as reasoning, so kind of the same thing but different. Now, first pick is pretty much a no-brainer still at this point for me. Caleb Williams is that #1 overall pick, not the #1 overall player. Marvin Harrison Jr. has jumped him on an overall, prospect, whatever. Quarterback is a positional need and valued much higher than receiver, because if you have a franchise quarterback, especially one with the ceiling like Caleb Williams, you're going to be in great hands for the next while, and Caleb Williams will be the pick here at #1. Moving on to #2 is Marvin Harrison Jr. You pick Marvin Harrison Jr. here to pair him up with Kyler Murray, give him a weapon and expand that offense and just get an overall elite weapon. A lot of people are already saying he's a Hall of Fame receiver, which is a little much for me. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the best player I've seen at the catch point coming out of college. A lot of guys are really good in the NFL, and I'd say that Marvin Harrison Jr. is up there with some of the best prospects I've ever seen at the catch point, especially, but still runs great routes. There is some questions about his athletic ability, but through the combine, even if he runs in the low 4.5s, he'll still be there will be no drop off in his draft stock. He's just too good. So at #3, New England Patriots up to pick, and it'll be Drake May for me here, the quarterback. A lot of big playability, arm talent, throws the ball down the field a lot and likes to stretch the field, and that's currently what New England is missing. And Drake May, just arm talent, and when he's in the pocket in rhythm, he's probably the best pocket passer in this class by no doubt about it, actually, considering Caleb Williams only plays out of structure pretty much. So you do have a good pick in Drake May there if you are the Patriots. And sorry if I'm speeding through the first round a little bit much. This is more about the depth of the draft, so the first round you can kind of breeze by, considering some of you guys, if you guys are watching a 3-round mock, some of you guys I'm sure already know more about the first round than any other round, so I will just kind of breeze by. I wouldn't exactly say that. Next pick coming up, Olu Fashanu, the left tackle, will come in, and Braxton Jones might kick into guard. Maybe you get rid of someone kicks into guard. Like, they have Lucas Patrick, he's viable. All of their offensive linemen are good, but Olu Fashanu is a blue chip talent, no doubt about it. Will come in and be one of the the top 5 picks in this draft, probably. Just such a good player and has developed so well. Now for me at 5 here, I have picked Brock Bowers in the past, but I'm going Jared Verse. You want to get that for sure talent there. You don't want to really go on a miss guy, or you don't want to miss on guys like Dallas Turner, or not to lay out Latu. Only reason he is so low, he's probably the consensus edge #1 in this whole class. Dallas Turner is quite on the rise, and Chop Robinson, due to his size, is kind of dropping at the moment. But right now, I'd say that Jared Verse is probably the most for sure good guy, prototypical size. His floor is probably the highest right now, probably other than Latu. But if you're looking to build and just get a stepping stone on the defense, I wouldn't go with Latu just because there is risk there in general. Then here at 6 for the Giants, probably a little different for most people, but I'm gonna go Malik Neighbors. He's looked really good, jumping up on people's draft boards like crazy, and now I'm seeing him mocked inside of the top 10 more often, and I said, hey, why not make the jump? He's an incredible receiver, amazing after the catch even for his size, incredibly light on his feet. A lot to go on there for the Giants. And the Bucks, considering their situation, I'm gonna say, hey, they retain Baker Mayfield, we'll give him a weapon in Brock Bowers. Cade Otton isn't exactly the best tight end in the league, and Brock Bowers has the potential to come in and be one of the better draft prospects we've ever seen. I wouldn't say ever, I mean maybe in the recent years. Obviously Kyle Pitts comes to mind, but as an all-around tight end, Brock Bowers has more than Kyle Pitts for sure. Have Brock Bowers here inside of the top 10. I constantly find spots for him outside of the top 10. I could see why you wouldn't want him early. Positional value really just isn't there, but he's a great player, and I'd say a blue chip talent. Jets, sorry. This is a dream scenario for them. Joe Alt is available, and that is exactly who you're going with. You hope to re-insure or re-sign, Mekhi Becton there at the right tackle spot, and then you have Joe Alt coming in playing left tackle, and then everyone in between. You have guys like Dwayne Brown, Laken Tomlinson, who'd come back in and play guard for you. Joe Tippmann's played well at center, and you could even target guard later in this draft and or in free agency. So this line really gets better with Joe Alt as an addition to it. And here at number 9, I will constantly have this going to happen. It's Kool-Aid McKinstry, probably just the overall consensus number 1 corner, like not sure thing, but he's as close as you can kind of get inside of the top 10 and get your values worth for a corner. Tennessee, another tackle destination, is JC Latham going there, playing right tackle. You look to maybe, you know, either it's Andre Dillard or Jalen Duncan. They're in their tackle spots and you just can't have that. So it's JC Latham. Maybe you pick another one up during the offseason. Aaron Brewer's been a bright spot, and Peter Skoronski is there as well, playing left guard, I believe, at this point. So JC Latham coming in at number 10. Now, I got some comments from you Raiders people, and I kind of agreed with it. I could see Dallas Turner going here, but I'm going quarterback. But can you guess which one? I guarantee you can't. It's Bo Nix. Some of you guys are going to hate that. Some of you guys are going to despise me for that and perhaps click off the video. I don't care, man. He is so good. And if you're the Raiders, just you want to get it right. And Bo Nix, it's not hard to go wrong. Obviously, all quarterbacks are still kind of a question mark at the next level coming from college. But Bo Nix looks so pro ready, in my opinion. Makes a lot of the throws you need, a lot of the decisions. He's in a very quick offense, so he gets an understanding. He has a nice idea of an NFL offense in his head and what he's going to need to do. So Bo Nix, with his experience and elite arm talent, I wouldn't say elite, but arm talent, is going to the Raiders at 11. Like it or not, it's happening for me. And in this upcoming week, we have here in real life, the Saints are looking at putting A.T. Perry perhaps at that wide receiver 1 spot. Then you would have Lynn Bowden playing there, and look for the tight end. What's his name? Jermaine Johnson? That's not him. That is Jawan Johnson, the tight end for the Saints. That is going to perhaps get a little bit more targets than he has all year long. I'm going Rome Odunze here, just a different type of receiver than Rashid Shaheed, who's been a strict deep threat for him. Chris Olave is a little different, a little bit more technical. Rome Odunze perhaps is your long-term Michael Thomas replacement, and you hope that's the case, picking him inside of the top 15, especially at top 12. Now, some of you guys might want a quarterback here, but they're almost forced to pick a developmental guy like JJ McCarthy or Jaden Daniels. I know Jaden Daniels would be quite fun with Louisiana at both spots, but you kind of look at it and Derek Carr's contract, Derek Carr is going to have to start there another year, and maybe you pick higher even next year than you do this year, and that might help you in the quarterback run. But I don't know. You could pick a guy later. I really don't know what you do here if you are the Saints. It's hard to predict. This is probably the hardest one inside of the top 15. Now, my favorite team of the Green Bay Packers, I have them taking right tackle Talaise Fuaga. He is known for the run game, but he is developing well as a pass protector, and if we can keep that going, it's only trending well, considering we have a power back like AJ Dillon, who's going to be out of contract, and Aaron Jones just really isn't the player he used to be. Gets hurt all the time. Both running backs are pretty unreliable, so whoever comes in next year, or whoever it is they pick later in this draft, maybe a hint, maybe a wink Talaise Fuaga will pave the way for him in the run game and just keep continuing to progress as a pass protector for Jordan Love, who I believe is the quarterback of the future for this team. He shows exceptional arm talent week after week, and I can't believe people actually still question it, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to go on a full Packers rant right now, but I so could. And then the fall of Dallas Turner stops, and the fall of Leatu Latu continues, as Dallas Turner is the next guy off the board here at 14 to the Rams, who just need players. All right, that's kind of their roster right now, the situation they're in. They just need football players. Now, Cincinnati, who is really old on the interior with both BJ Hill, who's probably 27 or 28, but just not quite the player that you'd like on the other side of DJ Reader. That being said, Jerzon Newton is the pick here, an absolute monster out of Illinois that is ready to just dominate offensive guards and centers and wherever he plays. He should be pretty good at the next level with the amount of strength and power he contains. And now, if you are the Buffalo Bills, you could think about Leatu Latu. You do have more severe needs, and you do want to continue with the Josh Allen, not resurgence, but you want to make that offensive change. You want to get Ken Dorsey out of there and renew what you have, and maybe load up on a few things. So I'm going Keon Coleman here. So Keon Coleman, Florida State receiver, go up and get it type of guy. Stephon Diggs is an all-around great receiver. Gabe Davis isn't quite an all-around stud, really good down the field, has drop issues for sure, but Keon Coleman is a go up at the catch point guy. I know Khalil Shakir has played great for him this year, and that should only continue as their fourth utility guy. They have a lot of height at the position, and Khalil Shakir can line up in the slot pretty often for him and still make an impact even after a Keon Coleman type player enters that wide receiving room. Now here with Arizona, who is going to pass on Leatu Latu. I'm sorry, he should go generally higher than this just in this draft. I saw bigger needs, and Nate Wiggins did actually declare for the draft recently. So Nate Wiggins, the Clemson corner, shows all of the traits, athleticism, height, weight, everything you need at corner, and it plays good football at Clemson against pretty good competition. Nate Wiggins is the pick for Arizona Cardinals, who kind of struggle at corner. Now, same thing as Derek Carr here with Russell Wilson's contract. You just can't not have him start for you, or at least stay on the team. And so that all being said, you're not going to go look at quarterback or anything like that. Leatu Latu goes off the board here. Could you imagine if Sean Payton could scheme up another great edge? So you'd have, like, obviously I didn't want to do this because Nick Bonito and Baron Browning, they move all the time. They aren't always just every down edge rushers, but Leatu Latu is. So you have him, and then the versatility of guys like Bonito and Baron Browning, and then Zach Allen up the interior with a few older pieces they have there for sure. So I just like adding to that defensive line, something that Sean Payton was always so high on at in New Orleans when he had control of that Saints team. He was always known for a good defense, and it all started with his defensive line. Now here, if you're Atlanta, not a dream scenario, but a very good one. Jaden Daniels, the next quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, really fits what they're trying to do there. Desmond Ridder has the legs, just the decision making hasn't been working out at the next level in this league. Even after he started a few games last year, didn't even turn the ball over too often. I think he only did once, if not maybe had one interception and a fumble or whatever it was. Jaden Daniels comes in. He's very smart with the ball. He's only progressed as a passer. He's always been a stud with his legs, and Atlanta has become quite the run heavy offense. But what would hurt you more than having an elite deep ball in Jaden Daniels that can just dish it out to both Drake London and Kyle Pitts down the field, while giving you a threat on the ground with his legs and play action and RPOs and even read options with Bijan Robinson. There's a lot going on right now with this Atlanta team, and I think that if you only add Jaden Daniels, or if you add Jaden Daniels, it only gets better and more chaotic on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe you focus more on defense in your upcoming picks, but you really solidify that quarterback spot. You give him the time, you give him the weapons to develop, and that's all you can ask for. Atlanta, Jaden Daniels, great pick in my opinion. Now for the Vikings, it'll be quarterback, and maybe not who you expect. I'm going Michael Penix Jr. To me, he looks like he'd just get better with O'Connell. Okay, like I'm sorry to JJ McCarthy, but we've seen limited stuff from him, but what we have seen is great. And spoiler alert, I do believe he does go in the first round. Michael Penix Jr. just overall to me just feels more like a Minnesota Viking, not because he wears purple at Washington, just the way he plays ball, the way he tries to fit it into the middle of the field. Especially you could see Justin Jefferson getting loose there, can sling it downfield to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who has emerged as quite the weapon this year as well. So I love this pick here, and if you're Minnesota, I'm pretty sure you're happy with it. If JJ McCarthy ends up being a better player than Michael Penix, it doesn't surprise me, but right now the floor is higher on Michael Penix Jr. and his workload coming in, and they look to keep that air raid offense, happy and keeping their receivers active with Michael Penix. With JJ McCarthy, it might take a little bit to kind of develop into that sort of role. With Michael Penix, I think it's a more smooth transition. Now the Colts, there's plenty places you can go here, and I do think receiver is a need, but Emeka Egbuka just isn't the player you need. Josh Downs is already there, and sure, Egbuka can go play the outside, whatever you need him to do. I'm sure he'd be more than willing and capable of doing, but I'm going to go Cooper DeJean here. You get an all-around DB. I just call him the DB because he could play boundary, nickel, and safety and just be good for you. So Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, the DB, helps in the secondary. Juju Brents has played pretty well this year. I can't remember the exact numbers and ratings and all that good stuff. And Kenny Moore's there. I don't know for how much longer. I think his contract's up sometime soon if they didn't just re-sign him. So Cooper DeJean just adds to not a depleted but a weak secondary, and Cooper DeJean makes the Indianapolis Colts defense look pretty good and a lot better on paper. Here is the Seattle Seahawks pick at number 22. 22 you can have some fun, but I mean, JJ McCarthy, he sits behind Geno Smith for a year, maybe even starts next year after Geno's gone. But after that Thursday night football performance, I think that he just reminded everyone why he's gotten that 3-year deal there with Seattle. He earned it, man. He's looking pretty good. JJ McCarthy sits under him for a year, and that's not the worst thing ever. JJ McCarthy comes in and is the starter of the future for this team. I think that there's plenty to like about it. Used to having a good defense at Michigan. You get the same thing with Seattle. Pete Carroll, more of a defensive guy anyways, and schemes it up nice every year. Always makes his weapons work. I like this a lot for the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe JJ McCarthy's gone before now. I would even be fine with Michael Penix here and letting Geno walk this season or cutting him, because I think there is a void year in his contract. And if you guys do want to learn more about this quarterback class, I dove into their film and everything, I think like 2 videos ago, 3 at this point, maybe. I can't remember when. I think I'll post this one, but you guys can go watch that video. It would help you guys learn a lot about this quarterback class for sure, especially the top 5. I don't hit on JJ McCarthy as much. Steelers need corner, and it's not even close. Levi Wallace isn't quite the ceiling, or not quite playing at his ceiling. He isn't the best corner of all time. Patrick Peterson, no words there. And yes, you can pair Kalen King and Penn State teammates with Joey Porter Jr., who's played really well this year. But I'm going to go Denzel Burke. Kalen King, to me, isn't the player. I don't listen. I know it's like a good scenario. It's a good storyline, but Denzel Burke to me is the better player, and I'll take him at 23. And the fall of Chop Robinson and all the edge rushers stops now. Chop Robinson off the board to Houston. Just need edge. I know they got Derek Barnett off waivers. I don't know how good he'll be. They got Myjai Sanders when he was waived from the Arizona Cardinals earlier this year. They have Jonathan Grenard starting at one side. I don't think he's the worst player ever, but to add a athletic demon like Chop Robinson is, I don't think that that's the worst thing ever, playing on the other side of your first round pick, Will Anderson. Honestly, a lot can go here. Mecca Igbuka could even, happen. Whatever the scenario is, Houston will probably end up getting better here at 24. Now Miami, another dream scenario here where tackles fall as well, and Amarius Mims is on the board, and that's all you could ever want and hope for. Honestly, just a huge mold of clay, and you look to make him really good and use his strength and his massive frame to advantage, and he's got the right guys to coach him up over there, and the right defense to help him out in practice as well. You play against guys like Bradley Chubb, Wilkins if he wants to shift outsider and 3-tech, whatever it is. Mims has good edge rushers there. Jalen Phillips unfortunately torn Achilles now, so can't really help him during the offseason, considering he'll probably just be in rehab. I'm just saying, good competition only makes you better, and Amarius Mims will have Bradley Chubb to guard, so good luck. Dallas fans, I'm ready for the hate. Kill me if you want. I don't care. I'm going Braylon Trice at this spot. Look at how old DeMarcus Lawrence is. You have Dorrance Armstrong, Sam Williams. Sure, all rotational. All right, I'm not saying they're anything special at all. Micah Parsons doesn't even play as a base edge like Braylon Trice would, and he's good against the run as well. Sets an edge really well against the run and gets to the passer often. Likes winning. Honestly, Braylon Trice plays with a pretty high motor, gets into the backfield often. I think he'd pair well with guys like Micah Parsons, and if he can learn a lot from DeMarcus Lawrence early in his career. I don't care if you guys say it's not a need and we're fine on defense. Braylon Trice, or is it Braylon? Why? How am I really mine? Like, my mind is just exploding. Okay, yes, it is Braylon Trice. That is confirmed. Braylon Trice off the board here only makes the Dallas Cowboys better, and I think that's what you're trying to do in the long run. Get an immediate impact, and that is also what you're trying to do with the first round pick. Detroit, once again, Kalen King on the board. Kamari Lassiter, who some people have significantly higher than others. I'm going Terrion Arnold, someone that is just a Dan Campbell player. All right, he comes down consistently as a boundary corner to make big hits and surround the inside. Plays well in zone. His instincts are good. Gets downhill, and man, does he make a hit. Terrion Arnold just fits the Dan Campbell mold. He's got typical size for your prototypical corners, and Terrion Arnold here at 27. I wouldn't say this is the worst pick ever, and you get the Dan Campbell mentality, man. Next pick, I'm sure Jags are pretty tired of seeing this, but JT Tuimoloau off the board. Just I like the way he fits into that defensive line. You can go around and see that they don't have the best. They kind of play a 3-4, which means your outside linebackers, who would actually end up being like Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, would play your edge rushers, and then you'd have your nose tackle, and then I'm pretty sure there's a defensive tackle, and then like a 3-tech. I can't remember how it's slated. All right, kill me now. I know I'm the worst ever. Basically, JT Tuimoloau and come in, be rotational at the least, if not a full-time starter on that line, along some good players to help him out. Maybe take a double team or two and leave JT Tuimoloau with one-on-ones. And this pick only looks better if they don't sign Josh Allen this season, which they have to. I mean, they've got to. And here at 29, dream scenario, Emeka Egbuka comes in, probably your slot receiver with Rashee Rice on one side, Travis Kelce, obviously your tight end, and then on the other, you leave space for a guy like Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, whoever you choose to put next to him if you don't make an offseason move for another receiver. Emeka Egbuka is just a very good player and pick at 29. In my opinion, just great value. And as you guys know, DB has been a problem for San Francisco 49ers consistently, and you're going for the home run here. So you're taking TJ Tampa, who shows good acceleration, good athleticism overall, great size, and good instincts. Really instinctive player, and that plays well in both man and zone. That's what I'm saying. You're going for the home run. He might not be as traitsy as, or he might be a little bit more traitsy than the other guys are good. Like Kalen King's probably the safer, less ceiling pick, but with TJ Tampa, his ceiling is very high, and I think San Francisco's staff gives him a good chance to be pretty good, as he won't start immediately. They'll probably choose to start like Deommodore Lenoir and Charvarius Ward. Ambry Thomas might even play over him if they don't look to add DBs in the offseason through free agency. TJ Tampa, you're just shooting for the home run. I don't even think he's a bad pick here at 30. I think he's equally as good as Kalen King. Kamari Lassiter, I'd probably have a little bit over both of them, but I just don't know, how high the ceiling goes for him. In terms of TJ Tampa, his is high. I have constantly been absolutely shitting on Kalen King, and he is who the Baltimore Ravens will pick here. Plays a lot of that man-to-man, and yeah, I don't know, just a lengthy corner, good player. He's worthy of a first-round pick. I'll put it that way, and maybe goes a lot before 31. I could see him going in the 20s. Me personally, 31 will be the pick here for me. And Philadelphia, last pick of the first round. Kamari Lassiter, the last corner we were talking about there, with maybe a more limited ceiling than TJ Tampa, but still a good player, will come in. Guys like Darius Slay and Bradbury aren't quite playing as well as they have in past years. Plus, they are on the really old side for corners in the league. Maybe not Pat Pete. Pat Pete's pretty old. Kamari Lassiter will come in and add a little bit of that Georgia feel to that defense. They have so many Georgia players, and you only stack on with Kamari Lassiter to end the first round. Carolina up next. Now it's between three people, and it's Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, and Xavier Legette. Two Xaviers and an Adonai. Whatever you do, you're getting a good name. I don't know. Carolina here at 33. You're just looking to give Bryce Young a chance, and you need someone who separates, and you need someone who has a feel for like a quick play offense. And Adonai Mitchell gets some depth on his routes, and Xavier Worthy's more towards the line of scrimmage. He isn't as good of a blocker if you look to enhance that run game next year, so you're taking kind of a load off Bryce Young. But Xavier Worthy will come in and just be a very nice athletic receiver who can develop with Bryce Young, get a good understanding of that offense, and run a lot of quick, shallow, easy stuff. So gives Bryce Young a better chance at making it in the league, as I think he'll be fine from here on out. I don't think it really gets tragic for him. I don't think that he absolutely falls apart and is considered a bust by the end of next season. Speaking of two Texas receivers, we'll look at a D-line here. T'Vondre Sweat, who I might have going a little high, offers the ceiling of just a crazy ceiling. All right, I'll put it that way. T'Vondre Sweat is 362 pounds. He is a little on the shorter side to carry that much weight, which kind of slows down his athleticism, which you'd expect. But oh my, this guy can just swipe a defender out of his way, make a play, either filling a run gap and or getting and pressuring the quarterback, putting a big 362-pound body in front of a quarterback. It's pretty scary stuff. T'Vondre Sweat is the pick here for me at 34. Not an every down player probably, but looks to add a very good defensive lineman to Arizona there, and you'd give him time. You got pretty safe with your first 2 picks with Nate Wiggins and Marvin Harrison Jr. shoring up some of that, you know, exciting, flashy players, and now you're looking to hit it big with T'Vondre Sweat. Literally 362 pounds is not something to joke about. Graham Barton just feels like a Patriot. The Duke tackle, he plays tackle there. He probably suits to be a little bit better at guard, you know, probably projects to be a better guard at the next level, but does have that outside versatility, and you do like that about him, which raises his draft stock here to me being an early, very early 2nd round pick. Just 3 picks into the 2nd round, Graham Barton falls off the board to New England, where they have struggled with the O-line this year as well. They get Drake May. You're going to look to protect him. We'll keep it O-line related, I guess. Going Jordan Morgan, a left tackle. Charles Leno, I think, currently plays there. He has versatility. He's been in the league for about 90 years, so he's played pretty much every position along the offensive line, if my mind recalls me right. It probably doesn't, actually, but Charles Leno, you could look to move around and or move on from. Put Sam Cosmi somewhere that complements Jordan Morgan at the left side. That way you can really shore up one side of the line, and that side being the blind side of Sam Howell, where he has struggled this year, taking a lot of sacks, and a lot of it is on him. But the O-line could definitely be better. His average time to throw, you know, not towards the bottom of the league. I don't exactly remember where it ranks. Just his offensive line could definitely be better. Same could be said of this upcoming New York Jets or Giants team. I've confused the both. Now the Giants here, I would look at Patrick Paul, except there's no way in hell. Patrick Paul is a left tackle, and you're not moving that. You're not going to move Andrew Thomas, who plays left tackle for you, Evan Neal, who plays right. You're just not doing that, and you're going to take Troy Fountain out here. Might be a little early for some people, but I don't know how to say it, by the way, too. It might be Fautanu, which is how I initially thought until I heard Fountain somewhere. So I'm going to say, you know, Fountain. So basically, Troy Fountain comes in. He is another one of these guys listed at tackle, but hell, he could be one hell of a center at the next level. They don't really need that. I think they have John Michael Schmitz there, right? To be a guard at the next level should be pretty fun and pretty good for him. He looks to be a very solid center right as he enters the league. At guard, at tackle, there's some questions with his length, his arm length to be exact. Troy Fountain, and the way that his body is just projects to be a guard. NFL standards are kind of crazy for tackles, but it is what it is. If you get one, you get a great tackle. Normally they aren't going to be, you know, Troy Fountain arm length and the stuff that he brings to the table. Anyways, Washington is your next pick here, and I did get a little crazy. I went to Tavion Sanders here, a player I haven't 100% looked into him. I'm going to be honest, just a fun player, and Washington needs a tight end. Andrew Thomas really isn't making you much better, and that's the only place I really see you getting good value back at least. Sure, you could go Adonai Mitchell, who is falling in this, and my Green Bay Packers pick up next, and spoiler alert, they don't take Adonai. Instead, they are picking Carmen Kinchins, who will come in and play, I believe, strong safety, where we don't really have anyone. Rudy Ford, I believe, was our starter before he got hurt, and Anthony Johnson has played well. I just don't know how sustainable that is as a 7th round pick. But Carmen Kinchins comes in. He's one of the better safeties in this class, alongside Tyler Nubin, kind of in that first tier for safeties this year. Drops out of the 1st round, gets picked up early 2nd by a team that will need him and start him right away. Darnell Savage constantly leaves plays out there on the field, injured sometimes, so we could use 2 safeties, but Carmen Kinchins is a good start. Now Leonard Taylor, more of a pass rusher, I guess, but still a big body that knows how to play interior, will go to Chargers. Something they need, position of need, and I think you get better with him. It's not exactly one of those game-changing players like you're going to get earlier in the 1st round, like you did with Kool-Aid McKinstry, who will just shore up a spot on the defense. It's more of a Leonard Taylor specialized player that looks to fill a need. Tennessee will stop the Adonai Mitchell drop, and he will go here a good receiver, has a good feel, and like I said, he runs pretty deep. Chris Moore's been their typical deep threat this year, which is crazy. And you just don't really have Treylon Burks there that is making too big of an impact, and it's just Adonai Mitchell will come in. We don't know how long D-Hop's going to be there for you know, maybe next year max, and that's pretty much it. So Adonai Mitchell will come in, be a big body receiver who is constantly a threat in the red zone for Texas, but we'll see how he tends to develop and translate through the draft and the next level. I'm curious how he'll test. If he tests well, there's a great chance he goes inside the first round. I just had him following here along with many other receivers, Xavier Legette, who I actually like over Adonai Mitchell. We just really haven't gotten these receivers off the board, and just kind of the way the board fell for me this time around. Tampa Bay has Ryan Neal, I believe, who's like 28 or 9 at this point, former Seattle Seahawks safety, playing for them over top. You can't have that with Tyler Nubin on the board. I'd much prefer him. That'll be the pick there. And then this pick, you need to shore up a spot outside Josh Newton, another player that I like that this site doesn't really like, but I know PFF has a good grade on him. Josh Newton projects to be a pretty good player. I don't know how he's definitely got, he lacks some of that home run speed that you look to have in a corner that can just run downfield with some of the faster guys, but it is what it is. Newton will, you know, just even go inside the top 2 rounds. It's almost a guarantee unless something bad happens to him and or he does make bad decisions during the offseason and or if information comes out about him. So Josh Newton, all I'm saying, good corner, and you look to improve a spot there. I know, oh, you leave Patrick Paul on the board. He's a left tackle. Colton Miller is a left tackle. I don't know if he has right tackle versatility, so I just said, hey, leave Patrick Paul on the board, and no, not for me, where we can get, oh, that would be fun. Patrick Paul and Talise Fuaga, that'd be pretty fun, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with Xavier Legette. This man is on one hell of a rise this year. Someone I forgot to add into one of my videos, the biggest draft risers this season. I forgot to add him. I realized that after posting it. So yeah, Xavier Legette just looks and projects to be a good player, a little bit on the older side, and does have good experience going up going up against multiple corners for multiple years, which is good. You always like that experience. He has different releases. He's got a bigger bag of tricks than most receivers would, but Legette is yeah, I mean, this guy can run. This guy is massive. He can go up and get the ball. Big body receiver, play shallow with elite run after the catch, truck through a dude, juke him out, whatever it is, Xavier Legette can do it. Now, this pick was basically made for the Rams. Patrick Paul, you don't need to say anything else. He's not one of the best left tackles ever. He can project to be pretty good. Some people are on the downside on him. Some people like the upside. I love the upside, and the floor that he already presents is decent. So Patrick Paul to go play left tackle for the Rams. Now, I had a rough time making this pick here for the Bengals. You get Jason Newton in a place that you probably don't even need. So I was like, okay, where else can they shore up on this team? And I saw Jermaine Pratt still there. Sure, he's a good player. I like him. How long is he going to be there? Logan Thomas is getting a little older and playing more of that, you know, outside linebacker looks. There's just different things. You obviously have Akeem Davis-Gaither, who isn't the best player ever. And you're like, oh, Barrett Carter. He's not like great. And I like Jeremiah Trotter to go play middle linebacker for you. And then you have Jermaine Pratt, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and Jeremiah Trotter all on some sort of rotation with Logan Wilson as kind of like your every down. If you need to sub out every here and there, you can. You just basically put together a great linebacking squad. Jeremiah Trotter's really young, understands defenses, great feeling coverage. There's a lot to like about Jeremiah Trotter. I know some of you guys are upset with taking him over Barrett Carter. I know on the site in particular, they're higher on him, but not by much. And most places actually have Trotter over Barrett Carter at this point. This next pick here for Eagles, I thought about safety. It's just too big of a jump to go with Kalen Bullock, who is very slight. I think he's taller, maybe around 6'2" or 3, but he weighs in so light. I think he's around 175 to 185, somewhere in that range. And Kalen Bullock just doesn't really look like a Eagles safety. Plus, they just got Kevin Byard, and it's kind of similar to the move they made with CJ Gardner-Johnson, who they let walk. So I'm curious to see where they'll go with this second pick, but I believe I know it's receiver for me, and it was kind of, which one is it going to be? Is it Brian Thomas, the deep threat, or Troy Franklin, the all-around speedster making plays everywhere? And when I said that out loud, it's Troy Franklin. Devontae Smith, deep threat already, as long as a great route runner, especially in the medium spots of the field. Olamide Zaccheaus and Julio Jones getting snaps for you. I can assure you, you have way more explosion on that offense with Troy Franklin, either running shallow routes, middle routes, deep routes, taking the defense, you know, taking the top off. You can do that. and you can leave plays underneath for other guys with Troy Franklin's good speed, good release, good acceleration, great after the catch as well, making quick cuts, and he's hard to predict where he's going to go. 6'3", he's got a good frame. He is a little light, and he looked a lot smaller on tape than he really weighed in at Oregon. So maybe he goes to the combine, he's like 6'2" or 6'1". It wouldn't really surprise me. So at Buffalo, next pick, this is where I had Kalen Bullock. They're getting that safety. You have Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde playing for you, which is not good. If you guys didn't know, those guys are both ancient, and at safety, the very instinctive position. Kalen Bullock doesn't really have that yet, but sitting behind him for a year, being a rotational guy his first year, getting some reps early would help, and it would give him time to build a frame. All right, he is way too slight to be playing at the next level. I mean, you hope he's trying to build right now, build and put on weight, but it's hard to kind of project him at the next level where he'll play. Nickelback is probably where a lot of teams might view him. Might want to bring him in for a meeting or two before actually drafting him, or even the draft process as you're going through it. Talk to Kalen Bullock about how free are you to add weight. How do you think it would go? How do you think it would lose? Would you lose athleticism, explosiveness at all? And I think Kalen Bullock, a lot to be desired there. Now, this pick for me, which might be unfamiliar with some of you guys, is Jonah Ellis. I know it might not look like a good pick here on this site. Their rankings aren't perfect. I think that players are better than they give them credit for, but Jonah Ellis comes in to New Orleans. Now, there's a lot to like about him, and I don't understand the edge need and the want there for New Orleans if they have Carl Granderson, who's pretty good on one side. Cam Jordan, for however longer he plays, sure, you can make the argument for him, but I think he's pretty much done. And then Isaiah Foskey, they picked last year, and he, to me, was a good player, but we'll see how he really works out at the next level. But Jonah Ellis is a good rotational guy, maybe looks to be about 250 by the time the combine comes around, maybe a little heavier than that. He might put on a little extra weight because he is pretty slight, but does find a way to win. His explosiveness is unquestioned. He's very good at locating the ball in the backfield. Instinctive player that can really rely on his athleticism to work for him. He is a bit raw, but does find a way to win no matter what. Jonah Ellis is a fun player, and you should be excited about him. Wherever he goes, I'd follow him and really see, because he's got a big time ceiling. He wasn't actually recruited real high, found his way under the field, did an injury, and just stayed on the field because he was that good. So the Utah native Jonah Ellis will get picked here inside of the top 50. This pick for the Texans was pretty easy for me. Quinyon Mitchell, he's got everything you desire in a corner, maybe other than the speed, but we'll see. Okay, hang on, this is getting a little annoying. You'll decide after the combine whether or not he's got the traits for you and your certain requirements for a corner. But Quinyon Mitchell got size. He plays lower competition, which might be a knock for him, but shows everything you need. Quinyon Mitchell, a riser out of Toledo, top 50 player as well. Another pick that is pretty much made for the team is Brian Thomas here. He can play outside and just absolutely burn a defense as long as there's no really safety help over top, and if there is, might fit better on like a curl route, comeback, whatever it is. Brian Thomas can do it. Did it at LSU with Jane Daniels, playing at a high level with him and Malik Neighbors both getting some good attention. Brian Thomas is another one of these risers through the draft. He was generally pretty low, and now he is very high. Brian Thomas, very good frame, prototypical size for a wide receiver that blends acceleration, smooth hips, nice long speed in general. Brian Thomas can be one of the better wide receivers in this class when all is said and done. You never really know, and you need a lot to go right with that, especially at quarterback. You do get Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas, former college teammate that is going berserk this year. Why not try to translate that at the next level? Scheme up a lot for Brian Thomas, another guy that can stretch the field for you, along with Kyle Pitts, who might work the seam. Get Brian Thomas up the field. Then you either have Drake London shallow, you can have Bijan shallow, whatever you want. Design run for Jaden Daniels. There's a lot that can happen with this offense with just these first two picks. I know how well Sheldon Day just played against the Bears, but did you hear my sentence there? It was the Bears. Sheldon Day, someone that came up from the practice squad, a very fun story, played really good for the Vikings in his first I believe he got the start actually, but I'm taking Chris Jenkins here. It's just gonna happen. You look at him, he's an interior player, plays both the run and pass well, not special at either, and that's what kind of drops him. He's got good size and prototypical nose tackle stuff. But Harrison Phillips, I believe, would I don't know how much is longer on his contract, but with Coach Jenkins upright, you keep him around the Michigan area going to Minnesota, right around the same spot. So here with New York, Javon Bullard is the pick for me. A lot of people are higher on him than others. I know I've seen him inside of the first round, which is a little high for me, but I've also seen him go in the third. But I would like to see him go mid-second round. I think that's about his range. But Javon Bullard, you're doing that so you don't have what's his name? It's not Cordell Flott. I'm pretty sure he's a slot player. There's another guy that plays safety, Jason Pinnock, along with Dane Belton, who is at one of your safety positions alongside Xavier McKinney. You can't have that. Give me Javon Bullard. I know some of you guys are probably upset with this pick if you guys are Giants fans. Quinn Ewers is still on the board. Honestly, I don't like Ewers. I think he's going back to school. I think that's almost 100%. So I was like, I was around. I can't remember if it was even the second round. It doesn't look like it here. So I think in the third round, I was like, should I even pick Quinn Ewers since we basically know? But I was like, well, he's in the mock draft simulator. Why not? So I think I did end up taking him, but I didn't even add him into the equation the first two rounds. Just a lot of inconsistencies, lots to not like about Quinn Ewers. And you have Samson Ebukam, who played really well if you're the Colts, but Ebukam not. I don't know. He's hard to kind of talk about. He's good and bad, but Chris Braswell just adds to a rotational edge rushing group along with Kwity Paye and all that good stuff. So Braswell, who projects to be a good player, might go and fall a little bit. He's not like, I think there's a lot of hype around him in terms of people talking him up, but a lot of that is just Crimson Tide fans, and his true talent might just be a mid-second rounder. Weighs in around 6'3", 255, and relies a lot on his athleticism. He made Bruce Feldman's freak athlete list or whatever that one is, where he just does rely on his first step a lot, and it is good. He's one hell of an athlete. I'm curious to see how he tests at the combine. Maybe not a Nolan Smith type of performance, but could be muy bien. Very good. Chris Braswell, if all pans out in the long run, you get him developing for a year, and then maybe year 2 or 3, he comes out swinging and ends up being really good for you. That's why you take him here in the second round. It could all work out in the end, but Braswell relies on athleticism a lot. Now, a name you guys probably haven't been hearing is Edgerrin Cooper, going ahead of Barrett Carter. Wow, crazy, right? Not actually. He's way better than 89th ranked, right? He was very low on this mock draft database, whatever, but look anywhere else, Cooper's very good, in my opinion. Is rangy player. He's got a little bit to be desired in the weight department. Maybe needs to put on a little bit extra for the combine before he weighs in there. Either way, good rangy player. A lot of good run stops, I believe. So yeah, I just looked him up. 6'3", 230. It's hard to remember what each player does well and doesn't, so don't come suing me. All right, I don't know everything about everyone all the time, so I don't care. But basically, Edgerrin Cooper, a little undersized at just 230, but 6'3", good height. Maybe want an extra inch on there, but you never know. He could even weigh in at 6'2". It is what it is, as long as he puts weight on and commits to being a physical or a more physical linebacker, not relying on his instincts so much, which he does and ends up missing sometimes. But a very good player in coverage, good feel, chases well in pursuit, just good stuff like that. Edgerrin Cooper is the pick at 55. Pittsburgh, who goes cornerback for their first pick at 23. You're going to go to wide receiver here, and you're going to pick Jalen Polk. I know some of you guys might be a little confused with that. I just think he meshes well, a really violent and dangerous guy after the catch, which is something like they might have had in Deontay Johnson. He's frustrated with himself and the team recently. George Pickens, there's some questions there. Might just be a jump ball guy. You never know how this offense is really going to work out for the rest of the year. As far as I see it, Pittsburgh can use a nice receiver like Jalen Polk, who is a shallow option that is good after the catch, that can get downfield, can run pretty precise routes in the intermediate area, gets down, good speed, all that stuff. Jalen Polk has played well at Washington, really raised his draft stock and name this year, and Jalen Polk will be the pick for me at 56. Moving to Dallas, here we go with back-to-back receivers going Johnny Wilson. Dude, imagine giving Dak Prescott, and his ball placement this year has been so good at the tail end of this year, I should say. So Johnny Wilson, right? This guy is 6'7", runs in the 4.5s. Unheard of. This is so fun to look at his highlights, draft profile, and film. Really good in the run game, just blocks incredibly well, which if you're Tony Pollard, you'd love that. Receiver addition is actually pretty important as a blocker. I know Ladd McConkey, I'm pretty sure he's one of the better run blockers. Actually, is he? I can't remember. I think he's good. I think he's gritty. I think he's a Lions type player. Did I do that? No, okay. That would have been kind of sick. I didn't do that. And I'm sticking to my board here no matter what I see. Let's check in here on the draftbuzz.com profile. Johnny Wilson at 6'7", 237. He's a junior. His last 40 time was actually in the 4.42s. That can't be right now. He'd probably run towards the 4.5s. His vertical is pretty good coming out of high school. That was the last time this was recorded here. You could look at his shuttle. He's not the best mover like laterally, which, I mean, obviously you'd expect, but 237 is the 99th percentile, 6'7 is the 99th percentile. And you can go down here to his strengths and check it out. Elite catch radius, high point specialist, elite athletic skills made Bruce Feldman's 2023 freaks list at number 28. He wrote almost 6'7", 239, 36-inch arms. Just a very fun player. Clocked in at 21 miles per hour. Oh my God. Never mind. He is really fast. For comparison, I think DK Metcalf hit 22 miles an hour. Johnny Wilson is someone that can absolutely raise he could be a DK Metcalf. He could be an easy first rounder if he does well enough at the combine. I'll put it that way. I love Johnny Wilson. All right. I love Johnny Wilson. They even have him going here late first, but there is quite a few things that Johnny Wilson doesn't do as well, but the ceiling is there, and in a team like or at a team like Dallas, like that is just now another someone that people might not know about. Princely Uman Milan is how I've been saying his name. It could be Uman Milan. I don't know how to say it, but Princely Uman Milan is going to be the pick here for me. Gritty, powerful player that has good athleticism for his size, gets and explodes off the edge. You've been really missing that complementary piece to Aiden Hutchinson, and Aiden Hutchinson has such extreme versatility. And Uman Milan, if he pans out and does as good as he might in the combine, you'd say, hey, maybe he can slide into a 3-tech, get in motion like not in motion, but makes pre-snap motions like Aiden Hutchinson, where he might shoot to the 3-tech and get a running start at a guard. That's scary. And then you could flex Uman Milan outside. Whatever you want to do, Uman Milan's there for you. Defensive, not mastermind there with Dan Campbell, or not with the Dan Campbell and Detroit Lions, how they've been since Dan Campbell took over is what I've been meaning to say. My bad for taking a minute to get there. Uman Milan, to me, good player. I like his athleticism. I like his size. I like his ceiling. And I think that's what you're shooting for there. Good mentality. A high motor player, maybe. Can't remember. Like I mentioned, it's hard to remember everybody in this class. Now, if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're going to double dip on D-line here, going Brandon Dorless out of Oregon. You have Adam Gotsis and Foloranu Fatukasi, and for some reason Devon Hamilton's the third string. I don't get that, but Ledbetter and Roy Robertson Harris. And now you can probably move Trayvon Walker, not to an end, but you can be your versatile guy that Caleb Von Chason was probably supposed to be. So Trayvon Walker, a lot to mess with there. Versatility is outrageous, and if you lose Josh Allen, obviously he'd probably just go fill that role. And then you'd have JT Tuimoloau out playing wide edge rusher, meaning like he's like always just far out, not even considering playing him over the tackle or anything like that. And so you have Adam Gotsis, who Brandon Dorless would replace immediately. Foloranu Fatukasi at that nose tackle spot probably would be, a tough one to overcome. Fatukasi's not horrible. And then Roy Robertson Harris, who actually got a pretty good deal done for himself. You could see JT Tuimoloau playing outside, and then Dorless adding to this interior 3 right here with Gotsis, Robertson Harris, and Fatukasi. Some of you guys might hate it. I don't care. Miami up next is, this is just fun. This is for fun. Trey Benson, the fastest running back probably in the class. I'm kidding. He could possibly test in the 4.3s, maybe low 4.4s, whatever it is. He brings speed. They got Devon Achane. They have her. Dude. How many games have they played? How many times have you had on your fantasy football team Raheem Mostert come up as questionable? I think he's 31. Trey Benson is the pick. I'm sorry, not sorry. Trey Benson, such a fun player. If you're a Dolphins fan is upset with me for this pick, I don't care. Go watch the highlights. You won't be upset at me, and that is a guarantee. You can add that guy and keep Devon Achane off the field a little bit more. Add a bigger back like Trey Benson who could still move quite especially. He's special. All right, I'm gonna put Trey Benson in a special category for how fast he is, and he is a little smaller than I thought, but still moves for his size. Not a tank or anything like that. Just runs through arm tackles and then finds a gap. He's a gap and shoot sort of guy. Super fun to watch. Go watch some Trey Benson and you will like this pick as well. And then this is where I had my honky conky Ladd McConkey going off the board. Georgia wide receiver, run blocks well. Does a lot of things well. Nothing really takes him over the top. He does have a good catch radius for like being 6 foot or whatever, maybe on a little bit of a thin side, but you are getting thin. Debo Samuel's a cap casualty, probably one of the most expendable players on that offense. I know it sounds crazy. He's hurt most of the time, and Brandon Ayuk has emerged as one of the better receivers in the league. Ladd McConkey comes in. You can have Juwan Jennings playing wide receiver 2 for you. Neither Ladd McConkey, but one of them can develop and they can both play utility roles well. Christian McCaffrey might flex out and be your wide receiver 2. I don't care. McConkey just adds to a San Francisco team that might need receiver sometime this offseason. And while I was in the running back mentality with Trey Benson, just I think last pick, I was thinking about Jonathan Brooks, who is the best running back in this class. Tore his ACL, unfortunately, this year at Texas. He was projected to be the #1 running back off the board, perhaps early 2nd round pick. Did tear his ACL. That does raise concerns for sure, and just such a bummer for him. He's probably going back to school, but for mock draft sakes, I'm taking Jonathan Brooks here. Some people might hate it, but again, go watch some Jonathan Brooks. You're getting pretty big bang for your buck here at 62. I think he just makes your offense better. Plus, I couldn't really find another need for KC other than to replace Brian Cook at safety, but there's really no safety value whatsoever. The closest one is probably Rod Moore. Now, this might be unknown for some of you guys, but Landon Jackson, the 6'7" freak of nature, Landon Jackson, Arkansas defensive end. He plays very limited snaps for some reason. I don't know if he has injury concerns or whatever it is. Landon Jackson, I'll show you guys real quick. This guy right here, he's got some Josh Dobbs type of feel to him, but I don't care. Landon Jackson, 6'7", 281, plays best off the edge. He's a versatile defensive lineman, but look at this, 91th percentile 40 time. His weight at 281. That's pretty good if you're 6'7" and you still move like he does at 20 years old, and maybe 21. Yeah, 21 by the time he gets drafted. Dude, you're looking at just the biggest mold of clay, has fluidity and speed, and cover a lot of ground, dropping back into zone. Like, he plays coverage. Like, he plays in coverage. This guy, 6'7", 281, can drop back in coverage for you. A very versatile player. Plays in the SEC, gets the highest caliber, and puts up numbers when he's even getting limited snaps. And remember, he's going to be 21, and he's doing all this while he's 20. Jackson is a very exciting player. I'm not saying he's an all-around polished product, and that's one of the reasons he's not going super high. There's just stuff to rave about Landon Jackson, and staying on the field for longer would be kind of fun to see, and a little bit better snap percentage is what it is. Landon Jackson is someone to watch out for in this draft. As everyone knows, you're bringing Shaq Leonard in for a visit. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you have guys like Zach Cunningham playing out there for you. They just have a lot missing in that linebacker room, and you only add to that with Barrett Carter, very versatile linebacker. Does find his way into the 2nd round for me. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are kind of curious why the fall for Barrett Carter, but just go around and look at his consensus overall placing. His draft stock's just going down. A lot more guys that might be emerging ahead of him as well. So it's just a tough call, but Barrett Carter still found his way into the 2nd round, which is not bad, especially for a linebacker. Did they draft one last year? I don't think they did. Like a guy like Trenton Simpson, who's been a guy for the Ravens that hasn't really played, but developing and getting ready to play if and when need be. Now, this draft is about helping Bryce Young and giving him weapons to develop around him. And Jackson Powers Johnson, one hell of a name, by the way, but center for Oregon, will come in and play center for you. Bradley Bozeman hasn't been good. Maybe you can kick him out to guard if you can't replace him this offseason. Powers Johnson comes in just as starting center immediately for sure. Carolina, not acing this draft on this website, but in my opinion, you get a guy like Powers Johnson and Xavier Worthy. You're helping out Bryce Young with the best you can with the limited picks they have. Now, here we are with the Cardinals. We saw them have a little bit of a different situation here at running back. And you keep James Conner around, you'd have to assume he wants to keep playing for him and will keep playing for him. If not, it's going to be different guys. Michael Carter Jr. actually just got there. I don't know if he'll stay through this whole season. His rookie contract might be up. Renew him or not, you're still probably going to want to add running back depth. And Blake Corum has fallen in this. He is severely undersized at 5'8", but will come into Arizona, look to make a difference in that running back room. New England Patriot. They've been lacking at receiver. Mekhi Corleone just working up people's boards. Western Kentucky, probably not the schools you'd expect guys like Mekhi Corleone to go, but good prospect, and haven't really dove into his tape yet, but I hear good things, I read good things, and I see good things from Mekhi Corleone. Now with the Giants, who have not ace of this draft for me, this is just like doing the best to get both needs and value at the same time, and they've done a good job of that. I think Fountain, whatever you want to say, at 37 is good. Javon Bullard at 53 has the potential to be really good. Could also kind of backfire and be an unreliable safety for his rookie year, but we'll have to see how that kind of pans out. And then here at 68, it's going to be a hit or miss corner in Kalen Carson, best in man-to-man, which I don't know. Deontay Banks, same sort of deal coming out last year. Instead of that, you're going to take a guy like Kalen Carson a little bit lower, maybe works his way in, plays with alongside Cordell Flott in kind of an inside-outside sort of deal where you are on the sidelines, you come in, then you go back out, come in, get a few reps in there, and really work at craft in practice. Been inconsistent at Wake Forest, but when he plays well, he's got all the traits, size, speed, everything you need at the corner spot. Can be a great player at the next level if he does the right things and if you coach him up the right way. Now Chicago with Montez Sweat did kind of nerf the need at edge with Ngakoue on the other side now of Sweat, but you could still use someone. Adisa Isaac is someone to watch as the draft process continues. Right now, I mean, he's supposed to be like a 7th or 6th round pick, and he's really shown a lot this year, and he's moved up draft boards to about the 4th or 3rd round, maybe sometimes even in the 5th, I don't know. But Jack Sawyer is going to be the pick here for me. Someone to come in, play rotational edge rusher for for Chicago out of Ohio State, and look to be a full-time starter there, at least for his rookie year, about halfway through the season. If he shows enough, I'm sure he could win that spot. A good draft for the Washington Commanders so far as well, who will likely have the new head coach there next year. Ron Rivera probably on a very hot seat right now. Jared Verse comes in, solid player, great floor. Jordan Morgan comes in, a great ceiling, a decently high floor, good body traits. And Jatavion Sanders, just someone to play tight end for you, because Logan Thomas, there's some age there that you don't like. But at number 70 overall, they'll keep their draft going with there's Chris Abrams Drain, who I like. Just consensus has it he's not worthy of this pick. I haven't gotten into him, I just know he's traitsy, and that is what people like, but he also so raw and inconsistent, which people don't like, and DJ James is less of that. Give me DJ James. He's got all the length. He's a lot more thin. They had no problem taking Emmanuel Forbes last year. Same coaching staff might not want to use Emmanuel Forbes. Same thing with DJ James. He's a lot lighter than you'd like. I think he's in like the 170 area. He's like 6'1". Got good size, good speed. Better against man than he is zone, but still plays good instincts, looks to crash down, make tackles on the inside. So DJ James, not a bad player, and you're shooting for the stars with him, obviously. But you that's some place you have to look this offseason in free agency, even if it's like a Rashad Fenton. No, not Rashad Fenton. Who's the guy that's been bouncing around? He's with the Ravens now, I think. Rock Yassin. He's been bouncing around. He's been a good corner for teams that need him on just like 1-year deals. So DJ James could be a guy that emerges as the season goes on. Same as Jack Sawyer, who I just talked about, the edge rusher for the Bears that I just took last pick. Maybe by the end of the season wins a job, but you don't really know with guys this deep until they really play a few years in the league. Chargers O-line is significantly more inconsistent than I've seen it in a while, and Christian Haynes will come in and play right guard for you. UConn, University of Connecticut will be a solid player at the next level, or projects to be at least. Obviously, you could still miss on these guys, especially on the offensive line, and it can look horrendous. But Christian Haynes has the ability to be a good player at the next level. I think that's all needs to be said. Come in and probably play right guard for him immediately. Arizona is up next, and it'll be back-to-back offensive linemen. Kingsley Suamatia, or Mataya, maybe. I don't know, but he'll come in from BYU. And I don't know if he'll win the left tackle job against DJ Humphries, but if Humphries ends up leaving, you're going to need someone to be there other than Kelvin Beachum if he's not as good as you might think. So Suamatia comes in the third round and looks to make an impact in the season possibly, and if he works out well, then you hit on a third round draft pick and he might be your franchise left tackle. Not a high chance of that, probably not a limited ceiling. He obviously still probably has a high ceiling. Anyone out of college does. It's just like how good can you really be at this point in the draft? Another guy that is really raw, but if all works out well, and he might be listed at tackle actually. Yeah, okay, so Cooper Beebe, or Cooper Beebe, however you want to say it. Cooper is unpolished, all right? It's as bad as it gets, but with enough will, strength, and mentality, or like that just hand in the dirt, get up and play football type of attitude, Cooper Beebe might play well. I mean, that's all you really need at the NFL level. If you have enough strength and will, you can win. But Cooper Beebe probably slates to be a guard or something for Tampa Bay. Cody Mock hasn't played great. He's been progressing as of late. Didn't mean to rhyme there. Basically, Cooper Beebe comes and adds to a Tampa Bay offensive line, has the potential to start and be pretty good. Jets missed on Adrian Amos, who really didn't come in and play the role that they hoped he would play, and that's fine. He's not really on a huge contract or anything like that. It might even be a one-year deal or one-year thing. He probably looks to be an off-season cut. And then Matt Adams has not been, or is it Matt Adams? I think it is Tony Adams, maybe. I gotta look. It's Tony Adams, your starting free safety, I believe, and that is exactly where Rod Moore would come in and play for you. Just a good safety over top. Ashton Davis is a good special teams player. I don't think when he plays he's better than Tony Adams, the safety, who has already worked his way over Adrian Amos. And sure, if you want to keep riding that wave and make sure or continue to develop him as your starting safety, go ahead. But Rod Moore is probably just one of the places you can improve. And it is a bummer that Cooper Beebe and Kingsley Suamatia go off the board here, because Suamatia, probably not someone that projects better as a guard, but can come in and play tackle. I know you already got one with Joe All. Just you miss out on offensive line opportunities, and that's really what this Jets team lacks. And this is a little rich for me, but Tyler Guyton off the board. I was just talking about how he could come in and or like the Jets just missed out on him and just didn't take Tyler Guyton. He's a right tackle who, I mean, the Jets might want, but you look to ensure tackles during the offseason. If you don't re-sign Mekhi Becton, you're probably going to get someone during free agency that isn't Tyler Guyton, who you're taking in the third round and relying to be a starter for Aaron Rodgers all season long. So Guyton off the board to the Raiders, who they'll let him play probably on the other side of Colton Miller. They're in desperate need of offensive line. Actually, I do want to go see what we've drafted for him. I believe okay, so this is their first offensive lineman pick, which I'm surprised I didn't do more. For me, the Rams have crushed this draft, and I think Quinn Ewers doesn't go here, but I'm just going to take him here. Nothing else I could really find other than like best player available, go down and find someone. But the fun pick and good pick here is Quinn Ewers. He's not the best quarterback, but with all the arm talent in the world, being the #1 quarterback in his class out of high school, been talked about his whole brief college career as someone with extreme arm talent. He does put it on show every here and there, and Quinn Ewers with a high ceiling might be more of a Sam Howell territory guy, where I think Sam Howell went in the 5th round. So we'll see where he ultimately ends up, but Quinn Ewers to the Rams just seemed like the pick, and I didn't see why not. If Matt Stafford can really teach this guy enough, if Quinn Ewers wants to be a good quarterback, there's probably no better situation in the league you'd rather be in, other than, obviously being picked in the 1st round and getting a bigger bonus on your money. Whatever it is, Quinn Ewers landing with the Rams could be crucial for a guy like Quinn Ewers landing somewhere like this. There's a lot of questions this late down the draft, so if you see any picks you don't like, just ignore it, skip past it, whatever. Don't go down to the comments and say, oh, this is so wrong, they're definitely taking blah blah blah. It's not happening. Shut up. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. I do appreciate that very much. If you have, go down and comment your favorite draft prospect this year, and I will tell you what I think about him if you want. All right, if you want, it is what it is. But here it is, running back for me, it's Travion Henderson. Someone like, you lose Joe Mixon, what do you have? Chase Brown, who you took last year, special teamer, someone that you rely on the athletic upside. Oh, he's already hit IR this year. That's right, he sucks. And sure, you lose Pirine, and the other guy's been good, Evans or whatever his name is, that's there. Just Henderson has the ability to be the next guy, and I think in the 3rd round you want to take that shot. Now, this wasn't really difficult for me. It's still good value. You're still just doubling down on your defensive line. You got Leatu Latu earlier and Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle or interior defensive lineman out of Texas goes. They have 2 in this draft. Byron Murphy perhaps is the better one, but falls to the 3rd round. Some people have him higher than others, but Byron Murphy consensus probably has him late 2nd, early 3rd, which is good. I think I like I like him a little bit more than that, but you do have to kind of stick to consensus when you are looking through multiple things and you have your personal opinions. But if you're doing a predictive mock draft, you know, you might just want to do something else. But anyways, Byron Murphy off the board here at 78. We're getting pretty deep into this thing, and here at 79 and 80 are both Packers picks. Oh me, oh my, I love these. Zach Frazier comes in starting guard or center, probably center. Every snap of his college career has been at center. He'd come in for, I believe, who's John Runyon right now, or one of the other guys. And then you drafted Talaise Fuaga earlier. That kicks Zach Tom into right guard. Then you'd have Fuaga, and then you'd have Frazier, and then you'd have either Runyon or the other guy. I'm blanking on the name right now. And then left tackle would hopefully be Bakhtiari, and if it's not, you look to get someone this offseason. Anyways, I love the new look of this line. If you do something like this and this sort of structure, you can kick Zach Tom inside. He's done it before, and he's done it at a good level. Something that isn't elite, but works and is, you know, sustainable. So how this would work is basically you'd get right tackle Talise Fuaga to start here at right tackle, then move Zach Tom up here to right guard, and then Runyon. Oh yeah, we already have Elkton Jenkins. That's right, that ding dong. And then yeah, Runyon would ride the bench. Myers would ride the bench after you draft Frazier over him. Rasheed Walker and Yosh Nijman and David Bakhtiari can all fight for that left tackle spot. One of my favorite players in this draft is Marquise Irving, aka Bucky Irving. He is going to be the pick here for me. I'll come back to him. So basically, why are you taking a running back with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones, already mentioned, huge injury risk, hasn't been the player he has been, and when he's on the field, sure, he's still great, but how much longer can you really keep that up at his age? He's like 28 or 9 at this point. AJ Dillon off contract this year, probably walks, and another guy that's a Packers fan favorite. I love AJ Dillon. All right, he's great for the community, everything like that. But do you keep him on the team? I don't know. You probably re-sign him on a contract. He hasn't been special this year as he has been in the past with just like thrashing dudes. There's a little soft side to AJ Dillon nowadays, and you don't really like that. But Bucky Irving comes in as a small utility guy that eventually looks to be your Aaron Jones replacement. Maybe plays a small role early, which I'm fine with. Give him some time to adapt to the NFL, not Oregon, all right, but he is schemed up on multiple quick passes a game. He gets in, he runs in between tackles still. He is tiny, small guy, but can take a damn hit, can break a damn tackle. Bucky Irving is one of my favorite players in this draft, and I get him here at 80. I love the pick. I was happy when I see both these back to back. And then Elkton Jenkins, it just made it so much better. I even forgot we had him. I was so involved and ready for Bucky Irving to be a Packer. Moving on, Arizona Cardinals at 81. You need interior line. Cedric Von Pran is here and looks to be the guy for you. Some steady Eddie. Maybe, you know, someone might win the job over the offseason. Injury might strike, and Von Pran comes out and plays good football, consistent, steady, just what you need. Seattle doesn't desperately, like, they don't need interior, but Rook Oro, I think, Oro, whatever his name is, Rook will come in and play interior defensive lineman for Seattle. They don't lack there. They even drafted Mike Morrison, I think the 4th or 5th round last year out of Michigan. It was like a nose tackle, but whatever, right? And Oro come in and play alongside. Draymond Jones, I think, has recently been kicking to like 3-tech, even playing edge sometimes. But when Uchenna Nwosu comes back, you have Darrell Taylor as a rotational guy. Boye Mafe's played great this year at times. He's been a little inconsistent as of late. And then you have Jaron Reed, who's a lot older than you'd like. Oro come in, either start right away for you, which would be the dream scenario if he does well through OTAs and training camp. And if you want to, just keep him behind, let him learn, and see what he does. Let him cook. Now, the next best guy here on the interior defensive line for me is Mekhi Wingo, who is where? He's right here. He's ranked a lot higher than like where he is on this website. Like I mentioned earlier, this isn't the best of all ratings or rankings. Forget to keep switching the scene there every time I go to a depth chart, but whatever. Mekhi Wingo, 83, good pick, good value, and just a need for Atlanta for sure. Obviously, that might be one of their stronger points. Then, I mean, perhaps you'd prefer edge over this, but Arnold Ebiketie hasn't been holding it down, but hasn't exactly been the worst player. You can go for someone a little earlier than this, but with what's left on the board, there's no edge rusher to be seen in sight. Landon Jackson might be someone that might have been fun for him, but Mekhi Wingo, defensive interior with, they have David Onyemata, who's broken out this year. Then obviously Grady Jarrett, getting way older at this point. And Mekhi Wingo at 83 to me is a good pick, good value, good return on your pick. You still have guys, and maybe free agency brings you an edge rusher. Now, this is one of my favorite player to team fits of all time. I've only been doing this 2-3 years now, so 2 years. Kyron Omegaji, the Yale offensive tackle. What is a sophisticated Don like Kyron Omegaji going to Dan Campbell for? Well, Omegaji isn't only a smartass. This guy plays with a high motor, just a high character. Okay, this guy, I have to. They're saying he might even play guard at the next level, which I don't know, but 6'5", 318, a good athlete. Last time that they reported a 40 time for him, his pass blocking's already pretty good, projected to be a 4th rounder. Shut your face. You can look right here. So above average football smarts and general intelligence. You went to Yale, no shit. Plays with a nasty streak and a solid character and work ethic. Name a more Dan Campbell player. And then I went ahead and actually watched one of the Yale guys, and they stood out on tape. Give me Kyron Omegaji. Well, this is a bummer. I accidentally did this, and this doesn't have like are you sure you want to leave the page sort of deal? And I accidentally left it. So I'll just redo the whole draft real quick, and I'll be right back. Alrighty. Just a few minutes later, we're back and we're ready to pick here. Wide receiver, people like to take it here from Indianapolis. I love Alec Pierce. I loved him coming out. I know he hasn't panned out in the league yet. You got Josh Downs, who's looked good when healthy. Michael Pittman Jr. going to be up for a contract extension, I think either this year or next year. Torrey Horton will be the pick here, though, for me. Colorado State, you add another receiver to the mix, and just someone good. I would say he's solid. And here, someone you guys probably have never heard of. Peyton Wilson comes up, be the linebacker taken here for Seattle. Bobby Wagner is not going to last forever. Jordan Brooks is constantly injured. I guess as of late, he was pretty good for a bit there. But Peyton Wilson, just look him up. I can't tell you about him. Just look him up. We haven't taken safety in a while, and that's going to end here with Mukaba. You've got old heads playing safety for you. I think it's Curse and KZ that are currently your safeties. I think Keanu Neal might be there still. I don't know where some of these guys are, but Mukaba will be the pick there. I've seen it, Mukaba or Makuba, whatever you want to say, but I like Mukaba better. So Pittsburgh safety Mukaba might look to play into a starting role by the end of his season as well, and that's kind of what you're looking for here in the 3rd round. It's potential starters. You're not exactly looking for starters right away, other than very depleted teams where you like the floor of a player and you want to pick him to be a starter right away. Next pick for me, I know you guys probably won't like this, but you have an improvising quarterback like Deshaun Watson, who likes to be on the move, maybe not as much as Caleb Williams was at USC, for Brendan Rice here, but former or I guess son of former NFL player and NFL legend Jerry Rice. He'll be a 3rd round pick for me. I don't know, he can end up being higher in the league. A lot of people have actually been raising his stock recently, so it'll be curious. I'll be curious to see where he finally ends up. and in what range, but Brendan Rice will be with an improvising quarterback in Deshaun Watson. I know you get a similar type of player and build in Cedric Tillman last year, but Rice is a little bit more of a run around and make it happen sort of guy, and someone I think would fit well and eventually replace Amari Cooper if all goes well. So that's what you're kind of looking for there. And Brendan Rice. Detroit with another pick here. I went with offensive line. It's just, where is he? Okay, Zach Zinter. You have Graham Glasgow playing right now in one of your starting guard spots. I don't know if that is by injury or not, but you are eventually going to need some replacements along the NFL line, or against the offensive line, not the NFL line. Zach Zinter will project to be a guard. I don't think he'll be a tackle, despite playing tackle at Michigan. Probably projects to be a guard, depth piece, and or potential starter if he shows you enough. Now, this pick took me a while for sure, but I ended up ultimately going with Roman Wilson, the receiver here. But they have Parker Washington, two totally different type of players. Roman Wilson is a short, good receiver, reliable guy. Tyler Lockett type of comparison, just not nearly as good or as much of an athlete and deep threat as he is. But Roman Wilson can really work underneath and work a seam quite well. Maybe run, more shallow routes than you see Tyler Lockett, who was more of a deep threat early. And so Roman Wilson, kind of a small, reliable receiver. Parker Washington's much more like a running back and guy that can make plays after the catch. Zay Jones, how much longer is he going to be there? Calvin Ridley's been inconsistent but great of late. And Christian Kirk continues to just be a good slot guy, which is where Roman Wilson probably projects to be. But I know he's a good player, Michigan receiver. Jacksonville Jaguars fans might like it, they might not. I don't know. Let me know if you're a Jags fan in the comments. Let me know what you think about this Roman Wilson pick. Now, Tony Pollard, you have a very good athletic running back, and I don't even know. I think he's playing on that franchise tag. So if he gets a deal done, it's probably not going to be worth much. He hasn't been great this year. And Deuce Vaughn's been a healthy scratch, I believe, if not injured. So Rocket Sanders, good fit. Braylon Allen would be quite fun. I think he's like 19 right now, and he's built like Derrick Henry. It's crazy what's going on with that situation. You see so many mixed reviews and opinions about Braylon Allen right now, but I'm going to take Audric Estime, someone I believe in as a player, as the player is good in my eyes. I love Audric Estime, and he'll be off the board to the Dallas Cowgirls here at 91. And here are the Kansas City Chiefs up next. I had them going interior defensive line with Nas Stackhouse. If you guys are curious about any of these guys, just go look them up. There's not a whole lot to talk about with them, as it is kind of late in the third round picks where you're looking, like I mentioned earlier, to eventually play a role, if not start and or sit out, learn. And if you like the floor enough, you might step into a starting role. But with this KC team, I don't think Stackhouse really has ground to start over obviously Chris Jones, but Derek Nottie in there as well would be the most likely replacement for Nas Stackhouse. Now, San Francisco, same thing here. Good defensive lineman, Mason Smith. You have older guys on the inside with Eric Armstead. Javon Kinlaw really has been a great player since he's been drafted earlier in the draft process for San Francisco. And Javon Hargrave, I might be on a 1 year. I think he's actually on a multiple year deal, but old and might have void years soon that you can get out of that contract, as he might regress. But working here, another running back, Donovan Edwards. He's better than what this little list has him, and Rocket Sanders really hasn't developed a whole lot. And for safety, or for this pick here, I'm going to go safety, Jahdae Barron, who probably is more of a slot corner type of player. They have him as a spur position, which is a safety linebacker mix, so he plays more down by the box and more coverage stuff as a linebacker, like a cover linebacker, strictly only plays coverage, never really blitzes as a linebacker, but when he's lined up as safety, stuff like that. So Jahdae Barron will be the pick here for me. It's going to get an F. I don't care. So we can go over it here. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, Olumiwa Fashanu. I love saying his full name instead of just Olu. I just call him Olumiwa. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it at all. Jared Verse, Malik Neighbors, obviously the high pick here, maybe the surprising one other than Jared Verse, who still has top 10 value for sure. Brock Bowers, Joe Alt, Kool-Aid McKinstry, JC Latham, Bo Nix, Romo Dunze to the Saints, Talise Fuaga to the Packers, Dallas Turner to the Rams, Drazon Newton to the Bengals, Keon Coleman to the Bills, Nate Wiggins to the Cardinals, Leatu Latu at number 18 to the Denver Broncos, probably the fall of the draft here for sure. Jaden Daniels at number 19 to the Falcons, another quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. off the board to the Vikings, Cooper DeJean, good DB, to the Colts, JJ McCarthy, quarterback, Michigan, to the Seattle Seahawks, Denzel Burke, Ohio State corner. Good competition there, and we'll continue to face it in the NFC North. Brutal spot to get drafted to with the Steelers. Damian Robinson, aka Chop Robinson, Penn State's edge rusher, goes to the Texans at 24. Amarius Mims, tackle, I think a left tackle for the Georgia team, and will come into the draft and probably be a left tackle. Teron Armstead could teach him everything he knows, and when Teron Armstead ultimately gets hurt, which is always going to happen, he'll step in and play. Braylon Trice setting the edge well for the Cowgirls. Terrion Arnold, cornerback for the Detroit Lions, probably not one you're going to see a whole lot. JT Tui Maloau, edge rusher for the Jags. Emeka Egbuka, receiver for the Chiefs. TJ Tampa shooting for the Stars in a cornerback for the Packers, not for the Packers, for the 49ers. Kalen King, corner for the Bengals, not the Bengals, the Ravens. Oh my lord. Kamari Lassiter, corner for the Philadelphia Eagles. You end the first round with 3 straight corners. Heading into round 2, Xavier Worthy to the Panthers, Tavondre Sweat to the Cardinals, Graham Barton, number 35, to the Patriots, Jordan Morgan to the Commanders, Tavion Sanders to the Commanders. 2 picks after that, and then in between was Troy Fountain, offensive tackle. He's listed at, he'll play guard for the New York Giants. Carmen Kinchins, safety, strong safety to be precise, if you must. Leonard Taylor, interior defensive lineman for the Chargers. Adonai Mitchell, receiver for the Titans. And Nubin, safety, would play over Ryan Neal. Pretty good value here at 42 for sure. He keeps playing good ball in college. For the Buccaneers there, you get a nice safety. Josh Newton, the cornerback out of TCU to the Raiders. Xavier Legette, one of my favorite receivers in this draft class, because my favorite team. Call it bias, whatever. I won't deny it. Obviously, I'm going to take the players I like, and I like Patrick Paul and could have considered him here to replace David Bakhtiari. I like Jeremiah Trotter. I don't like Isaiah McDuffie, who's been playing because of injury to our linebacker. So sue me. Troy Franklin to the Eagles, Kalen Bullock to the Bills, Jonah Ellis to the Saints. That's a guy to watch out for as well. I'll highlight that. Quinion Mitchell, number 50 to the Texans. Brian Thomas, good fit with the Falcons and their new quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Chris Jenkins to just shore up an interior line spot and just get into that rotation early. Javon Bullard, starting safety, or would look to be the starting safety over Jason Pinnock or the other guy there that I listed earlier in the draft, Dane Belton, I believe. Chris Braswell to the Colts, shooting for the upside there for sure. Edrin Cooper, the linebacker, great cover linebacker. To the Browns, Jalen Polk to the Steelers, Johnny Wilson's. Oh man, look him up, man. Look him up. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Johnny Wilson, fun player. Princely Uman Milan, from Florida, the defensive lineman. He's not going to play interior. He'll probably be an edge rusher or a 3-tech type of guy to play over the guard. Princely Uman Milan. To the Lions, Brandon Dorless doubled down. The Jags doubled down on defensive line, going Brandon Dorless, interior defensive lineman out of Oregon. Trey Benson to the Dolphins, running back, Florida State. Lad McConkey, Georgia, wide receiver to the 49ers. Jonathan Brooks, Texas running back to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's probably going back to school. Landon Jackson, freak 6'7" edge. I highlighted that pick. Go back to it if you're skipping to this now. Barrett Carter, the linebacker, makes his way into the second round to the Eagles. To start the third round, you get a center in Jackson Powers Johnson. Very good value, in my opinion. Will probably just shore up a spot on that offensive line. Blake Corum, running back, severely undersized, but still plays really well. And he'll go to the Cardinals here at 66. At 67, it's Makai Corley, the wide receiver out of Western Kentucky. Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest, a hit or miss type of corner with high upside to New York. Jack Sawyer, edge rusher, probably rotates early on and then might win that job later. DJ James, same sort of deal with Washington Commanders, same thing as Jack Sawyer. Christian Haynes looks to go be the starting right guard for the Chargers if all projects correctly. Kingsley Suamatia is a tackle candidate to maybe start if you cut a guy like Humphreys. We'll see and keep tabs on that. Cooper Beebe, the offensive guard, despite the saying tackle, going to play for the Bucks. Rod Moore, Jets, and Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle, the right tackle, I believe, will go play on the other side of Colton Miller. Whatever position Colton Miller doesn't play, because I already forgot that. I think he might be a right tackle, actually, but Oh, no, he plays left. Left tackle Colton Miller paired up with Tyler Guyton, the right tackle. Quinn Ewers to the Rams. Definitely could have gone to like the Giants, Commander. There's like other areas he could have gone before this, but just didn't think of it. And then late, I was like, okay, Quinn Ewers, sure, to the Rams. Fun situation there. Travion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State, to the Bengals. Byron Murphy to the Broncos, interior defensive line. Zach Frazier probably coming to play center for us, considering that's every single snap he's played of college has been at center. And then Bucky Irving, the running back out of Oregon, same thing to the Packers. And Cedric Von Pran, who I like to say is Van Pran, like that's just very, very blah. So I go Von Pran for fun. And Rook Oro the interior defensive lineman, going to Seattle. Mekhi Wingo, interior defensive lineman, to the Falcons. Kyron Omegaji, the offensive tackle, best player to team fit in this whole draft, to Dan Campbell's Lions. Torrey Horton, the wide receiver out of Colorado State, to the Colts. Peyton Wilson, NC State linebacker, to the Seattle Seahawks. Andrew Makuba, a Clemson safety, to Seattle. Brendan Rice, the receiver out of USC, to the Browns. Zach Zinter probably will be a guard at the next level, coming out of Michigan, to the Lions as a depth rotational defensive line type guy. And then Roman Wilson, wide receiver out of Michigan, undersized. If he had good size and good weight and better intangibles, he'd probably be going a lot higher in this draft. Audric Estime, just a fun physical runner, huge, good speed for his size type of guy, going to the Cowboys. Maybe not an every down player. Nuz Stackhouse, the interior defensive lineman out of Georgia, going to Kansas City. Mason Smith, interior defensive lineman out of LSU, going to the 49ers. Donovan Edwards, the running back out of Michigan, headed to Baltimore. And Jahdae Barron, linebacker safety mix guy that's listed at corner somehow, going to the Texans out of Texas. Fun little fit there. That'll be all from me. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, go down, subscribe, go watch any past content on the channel. I guarantee you will enjoy it. And that'll be all from me. Thanks for watching. Deuces!